And we're
And we're back. And never again is now. And for those people not paying attention to the news, right, a few days ago, Hezbollah in Lebanon sent missiles into northern Israel, killing, I heard 9 or 12 young children. And by the way, these weren't Jewish children. These were Druze, right? Because Israel is a country where doesn't matter your religion, you're welcome to live in the country as long as you live in peace. Israel, in return, just fired missiles into Lebanon in retaliation, taking out the command headquarters where the missiles came from. So, never again, ladies and gentlemen, is now, right? And don't forget that Israeli values are American values, right? And it's about Western civilization. Really, it's about Judeo-Christian values. But I want to get back to our guest, Mike Anderson. What a deep thinker he is.
Yeah.
Go to his website, Mike Anderson's plural. That's books.com. .com. But Ericka, what occurs to me is, so in a much more scholarly and intelligent fashion, he's saying basically what we've been saying for a long time, which is the uniparty. There is really no left. I mean, there is left and right, but that whole tribalism, what we call, demagogue, demonize, and divide, right? That when you divide the country into little groups, then the power elite, as he calls them, right, can sort of have their way or hold sway, and that government doesn't respond to the people. Government now dictates to the people. And again, I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but I think we were sort of saying close to the same thing. Like I said, he was much more scholarly about it.
It's the thing that that you just don't know how to put words to it, right? And I think it's we all know that if you don't have money and you don't know people, that you can get totally screwed and hosed. Like I don't need to know, like I don't need a degree to know that. But he made it like this is how you say it in like English.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, as opposed to you and I, so we're more street than that. At least I am. I look good, but I sound like I'm on the street. But I want to segue though to something, right? We're sort of going into our WTO. Where's the outrage?
Yeah.
Did you see the protests in Philadelphia from the Reactionary Communist Party of America?
Well,
you didn't
which
see
part?
it.
The part where they attacked the police, or wait, was that the one that was?
No. So this is 2 days ago. It was the founding Congress. I'm sorry, of the Revolutionary Communists of America. We're a party of class fighters committed to complete overthrow of capitalism. We fight the world of material superabundance and reject the art. I mean, it goes on and all this crap. But the one thing that I would love to have asked our guest about is, because taking out sort of the good versus evil component, which in my mind, there is that, but I'm not sure that he would agree with that. But to me, the left has a very different agenda, which is to transform the country. And whether they know you're moving, towards socialism or communism, and my thoughts. The minute you say the word socialism or communism, people's eyes glaze over and they roll back in their head.
Yeah.
But I mean, we used to jail communists in this country, right, for subversion, right, for being I forget the term, but basically
being a traitor. Basically,
being traitor to the United States. I mean, ask Eugene Debs, who in the 1920s was the head of the Communist Party. They jailed him. He still ran for president, obviously lost. And, so to me, and then you juxtapose that with, did you see the White Dudes for Harris?
Oh, God.
Rally?
God. Yeah.
So, But the interesting thing about that, which was hardly anybody showed up. I don't know if it means white dudes aren't supporting her or what, but Tim Ball, I think his name is Walz, the Minnesota governor, when asked about all this, basically said, well, one person's socialism is another person's neighborliness, right? So you juxtapose, which basically means that, well, socialism is like neighborliness.
Wow.
This is a governor of Minnesota, and I juxtapose that with the fact that you now have avowed communists on the streets, right? Which is a threat to American. And look,
so if we agree on the goal, of economics is the same as neighborliness. I can't.
It's neighborliness.
Okay. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Governor Walz of Minnesota said that
so he doesn't know English. Got it.
Well, cleanliness is next to godliness, right? Socialism is next to neighborliness, right? One man's socialism is another man's neighborliness.
Economic system of theft is the same as being nice to your neighbor.
Right.
I wonder if Jesus would agree.
Well, you know.
Okay, so hold on. Okay, so backing up.
Not to blaspheme, but it's the whole turn the other cheek thing. I still have a hard time wrapping my head around. Unless, of course, you're going to turn the other cheek and give them a backhand as you come around. So, I don't know.
I can't understand
Is this a new set of lips? You have a new set of lips today. Oh.
I just can't. I never am ceased to be amazed at how politicians and media pundits will just outright lie through their face right to the American people.
Why wouldn't they? There are no consequences.
There's no accountability.
There's no accountability. Look at Venezuela. Nicolas Maduro is going to survive. He is going to be the president. He stole the election. Even
everybody
Anthony
knows
Blinken said, and everyone knows it. And he's going like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? I control the army.
Literally.
So
That's literally what he said. And
right.
then we have, and hold on. So you can have a group of people called the Revolutionary Communists of America who are saying they want to overthrow capitalism. But a bunch of J6ers who did a tour of the Capitol are treasonists. I can't.
Right. I want Lord Benjamin to pull up the picture. Just look up Revolutionary Communists of America, RCA, and you can put it up. And look, when I say there were only 300 of them, but you got 300 people marching in Philadelphia preaching the overthrow. I mean, is it any different than you have, the pro-Hamas, protesters saying death to America? I mean, at some point you cross a line here. And if you don't understand that the enemy is inside the gate, and it's not the enemies left to right, it's the enemies top to bottom. It's the enemies of sort of the American exceptionalist institution, because this still is the great experiment.
Is this what you wanted me to bring up? Wait, is this the
Joe Biden? No, that's Joe Biden.
Revolution.org. No, I got the wrong thing.
No, it's called Revolutionary Communists of America.
Okay, hold on. Ben gave me another link.
Come on, let's get that link right. It's just in the news yesterday. I don't know about that. Come on, where are we? There we are.
Oh,
Thank you. Right. Wow. So they're marching in Philadelphia, but again, you've got to juxtapose it. You have a governor of a state, Minnesota, going, well, socialism is people call it neighborliness. Like, what?
That's wild, bro. That's not neighborliness.
And look, I'm a student of history. I may not be a smart student of history, but I'm a student of history. I defy anybody to show me one country where socialism has bettered the lot.
They just didn't do it right. They just didn't do it right, Robert.
Yeah, I know. They didn't go far enough.
Why are you such a bigot?
Now you sound like Bernie Sanders. Well, the only reason it failed is because we didn't go far enough. Where's my brown burlap sack? We should all wear brown burlap sacks. And
if they're not, if you're not in a bread line, you're not in a socialist country. Okay.
And then you go back to what we started with, right? That free speech, rule of law, and election integrity are the cornerstones of every democracy. And I'm sorry that Mike Anderson couldn't stay with us, or we didn't have the time, because at the end of the day, I wanted his take on are we really in a democracy now, right? Because again, well, first of all, we're not really a democracy to begin with, right? We're a constitutional republic, that kind of thing. But just to get his take on that, because rule of law, as you and I've talked about, before we're anything, constitutional republic or democracy, we're a nation of laws. If you want to fundamentally transform a country, right, first you topple old statues and you rewrite history, and then you get rid of the laws, or you make the laws you neuter the laws and just don't follow them, same thing. And then you get rid of the people who enforce the laws. And then after you're done with man's laws, you go after God's laws, and you convince people there's not 2 genders, there's 12. And I still want, and no, Ben, do not pull up the Minotaur picture of Robert this time. But so, yeah, I know I would have loved, to ask him some more questions, but it's just, I look at the governor of Minnesota going, well, socialism's like neighborliness. What?
Yeah. Oh,
can I
Ben
call him
gave
dumb?
me, what's that?
He loaded it into the brand.
Yeah, hold on. He sent another video. Hang on. Let's see.
Come on.
Yeah, they're doing the most.
Now, by the way, I'm for free speech. I am an old school liberal in the sense that, I grew up with the following saying that I may disagree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. Right. That's the way I was brought up.
Yeah.
That has limits, though. You can't yell fire in an open theater. You can't preach overthrow of the country. You can't say death to America and death to Israel. Where's the line here?
How are they getting away with this and grandmas and grandpas are still in jail? Okay, this is
because one man's terrorist is another. One man's terrorist.
I'm not talking about people who are like, attacking cops and doing terrible things, but there are people that have been held in prison, okay? Prison for doing nothing but trespass, getting charged with all kinds of nonsense. And yet we can have, okay, look here, Robert. Okay, here, real talk. Question for you.
Do you want me to take? There's a question here?
Yeah. So we've got the Democrat, the Republican, revolutionary communists.
We call them the autocrats, by the way.
The autocrats are marching, saying they're going to overthrow the government.
Right.
That is okay, but the white nationalists are terrible, awful, horrible human beings. And look, wait a minute. There are 4 democratic mantras, right? What are the 4 democratic mantras, right? For the safety of all, trust the science, right? we have to save democracy and free and fair elections. Those are the 4 Democrat mantras, right? Trust the science, free and fair elections, for the safety of all, right? And so the J6ers violated free and fair elections, even though, especially now when you look at what's going on in Georgia, and they're going to throw out Dominion voting, systems. At least that's what both the Dems and the Republicans are talking about. And by the way, that's the other thing. Why is it the 3rd largest state in the country, Florida, can get elections done in one day, and all these smaller, piddly ass little states take a week? And then the vote count changes, right? It's like, get the elections done today and trust but verify and have a paper trail so you can verify the vote. All we want is trust but verify. That's it, right? You want to use computers, that's fine. But there has to be a paper trail to be able to verify, or people are not going to have faith that the elections are free and fair. And January 6th went after one of the Democrat mantras, which was free and fair elections. Well, hey, okay, so here? I know you have some plans for the show today. Are we going to get to that Zach Sage thing? The kid who went to Israel, the young man who went over to Israel. Are we going to cover that today?
I would love to go. What she's talking about is
we got like 10 minutes left.
Perfect. A young influencer named Zach Fox did the Gaza University videos, I think. Remember at the height of the protests, Erica, in New York City, he went around and he interviewed all these students about what you were protesting on and what does from the river to the sea mean. They had no flipping clue what any of this was. So I got to give the guy credit. He has big, gabellons, right? He's because he goes to Israel. Not only do he's Jewish. I don't know if he's gay or not, but he certainly, I think he is. Wears nail polish and whatever, and I don't really care. I'm just saying, you don't want to go into the West Bank, which is what he did, being Jewish, being gay, being whatever. So he hid his identity. His passport doesn't say that he's Jewish, just says he's American. He went through this thing where I look in the mirror. If I dress, a little differently, I'll look like I'm Italian. He walks into the West Bank. He's got a producer and a cameraman with him, right? I mean, the kid's got big, a big set to do this, right? Walks in, and remember, Israelis cannot go into the West Bank or Gaza. They're not allowed. Yet people from West Bank and Gaza, they're vetted, can come into Israel. So he goes in and he starts interviewing everybody because he's hoping to find sort of that moderate voice about people who don't hate Israel in the West Bank, of people who don't, support Hamas, and he couldn't find it. And then what ends up happening, and I don't know, do we have this video clip up? And then he gets threatened by a bunch of Palestinian guys because he's interviewing a woman, and then had to erase the video. I mean, but what it showed you was that one woman said, "Oh yeah, we believe in a one-state solution. Get rid of Israel. No, we shouldn't release the hostages. No, there was no one killed. There were no Israelis killed on October 7th.
Wow.
And we love Hamas." He couldn't find a single person. This is like, God and Lot, right?
Yes.
Sodom and Gomorrah, which I'll save Sodom or Gomorrah if you can find one good person, right? He couldn't find one. Play the video. Do we have it up?
He's getting the shorter edited version loaded, but think about that, you guys. Think about that. Even if, because this is one of the things that I had questioned was, well, maybe they're too afraid. Maybe they're too afraid to say what they really think on camera. Maybe it's, this or that or whatever. But even in that case, if they're too afraid to tell what they really think, if they're too afraid to tell tell the truth, doesn't that also tell you something? So like, either they're telling you the truth or they're lying because they're afraid, which also means that it's bad and not good. And so, y'all, I'm not saying that everything that the country or the government of Israel has ever done is okay, right? I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, that maybe.
What are you saying? What are you saying?
This is what is so hard, because no one wants to see anyone hurt. No one wants to see human beings suffer. And so there is this inherent emotion where you feel for people, and then you just go, I don't. What are
you saying? What are you saying?
How does I
don't understand what
Hamas not fight back?
Wait a minute. So Mike Anderson even said that sort of the left has taken over the education of the youth, right? And then you have generations where it's inculcated in their values. They're teaching their children to be suicide bombers, and then that's okay. They're teaching their children to hate Jews, and then there's UNRWA,
How do you fight people that do that stuff? Like, you don't want to hurt people, but what do you do when that's how they're raised and that's the society? Like,
Look, this is really simple, and I've said this until I'm blue in the face. If Hamas lays down their arms, there would be no war. If Israel lays down her arms, there would be no Israel, right? And I know that sounds like a trite saying, but it's the truth. This is still a defense action, right? And if I know you're going to try to hurt me and I can take you out earlier, whether I'm in a bar fight or something else, then you preemptively strike those people. And by the way, Hezbollah, with the war just widened. Now they're getting missiles out of Lebanon. And let's be clear.
What are they supposed to do?
Let's be clear. Hezbollah is Iran's main proxy in the world outside of the Iranian army. And by the way, you have the Turkish leader Erdogan, or how do you pronounce that? Erdogan basically said that he's thinking of sending troops into Israel, to fight against,
God.
So this is first of all, thank you, Joe Biden, right? This is weakness breeds aggression. International politics. Look, there are bad actors out there, and Russia and China and Iran are the whatever axis you want to call them, but they're, what's the word, in cahoots? I mean, oh, by the way, here's the other thing. Do you know that they found Chinese had helped Hamas build their tunnels? There's evidence now that China has been helping Hamas build tunnels.
Bro?
So you want more evidence?
Come on.
Right?
Come on. How can you even argue this crap anymore? Or how can they argue this? Okay, so we've got the video edited. Yeah, we've got it edited down to 2 minutes.
So this is comedian and influencer Zach Fox telling about his trip into the West Bank as a Jewish American to try to find one good voice. Can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
I can't hear it.
You can't hear it? Can you hear it?
No, I can't. Okay. All right. We'll take that. It
should be playing fine. I don't know why though.
All right, folks, look up Zach with a CH Fox. West Bank. It's all over the internet. I mean, his Gaza University,
journalist
went
actually
viral with
gone
millions.
to Palestine.
There we go.
Oh,
The dream would
Okay.
be that there's a two-state solution, at least for me. However, once I got there, I realized that dream seems further than ever.
Do you want to live with the Israelis in peace? Or
No, I want one state solution. No Israel.
So no more Israel?
Yes.
Israel wiped off the map.
Palestine فقط.
We should delete Israel.
So you would not be okay with a two-state solution?
Of course not.
Things got very contentious very quick once we hit the streets. The second we hit the streets, it was like one after another. Massive love and support for Hamas, to the point where there's a comedic bit we added in the thing where I was like, okay, have me wandering through the streets and get some B-roll, because I know I'm going to want to add some audio over of just being like, where does there anyone not support Hamas? And he starts bringing more Palestinian men over. They start screaming in Arabic, and I'm still just trying to be a professional and go on and interview people. And eventually my producer tells me he's threatening to hurt us if we don't delete the footage. And then that violence
wow.
turned into death threats. I'm like Larry Daviding this thing. I mean, it was like out of an episode of a dark Curb, where, literally they're like screaming in Arabic. My producer's telling me we have to delete the footage. And I'm like, just here asking questions. Everybody gave me their consent to be on camera. Even the girl that you're upset I'm talking to fully
Wow.
gave consent to be on camera. I told her right off the bat she didn't have to answer anything she didn't
Journalists
want to. And
death
then the
threats.
Arabic started getting louder. More men start coming. And eventually I caved because my cameraman tells me they're threatening to kill us. I'm terrified for my life right now. It was a pretty eye-opening experience. I mean, yeah, we really bolted out of Palestine with as much footage as we had.
What else do you need to hear? Like, journalists get death threats. And here's the thing. If you have a just cause and you feel so good about it, why are you threatening journalists?
Wait a minute, Ericka. So, and I say this respectfully because I love you, right? And we've been doing the show a long time. Trying to reason with that kind of thinking is like the West trying to reason with the mullahs in Iran. Their worldview is different. It is impossible to have a sort of a Western rationalized conversation when, as far as they're concerned, it's okay to martyr yourself, right? And be a suicide bomber in the name of, in the name of God, basically, right? That's what that's what they're saying. So can't have a Western rationalized conversation. And that's why I'm going to end this with the whole Israel Appreciation Day. That's why Israel Appreciation Day is so important, because there's a reason that all the international press bureaus have their bureau in Jerusalem, because that's where there's freedom of the press. There's a reason. But think about it. There's a reason, right? If you're gay, if you're LGBTQ, if you have an alternative lifestyle, try that in any country in the Middle East except for Israel. Rule of law. There's rule of law and there's Sharia law. There's capitalism, and then there's sort of an Islamic economy, which is structured very differently. And then you look at all the medical and technological advances and all the good work that Israel's done around the world. Companies like Innovation Africa, that for 10 years, nobody knows about it outside of Israel, of course, and in Africa, where they've been bringing, clean water and energy to Africa for 10 years to improve their lifestyle. Those are the things that when you see that kind of a video, you cannot reason with them. You cannot have a rational discussion, because as far as they're concerned, the only good Jew is a dead one. And what people also don't understand, I had a friend who's evangelical, which I guess you're telling me, is that part of the Protestant denomination? I never understood the distinction, but basically said Christians and Jews have to stick together because they're coming after us both.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the deal.
Right. That's right. And speaking of coming after us, the deadline to the end of the show is coming after us very quickly. Really? Yes.
Drum roll, please.
Da 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 da. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where I say, if you have been watching the video for this long, we thank you. And if you liked it or you hate it, we'd love your engagement. So give us a like, share it, tell everybody that we are great, or tell everybody how dumb we are. All the engagement counts. Most importantly, though, if you are subscribed, hit the notification bell so that you never miss an Of the People episode. All right. Any last words before we go out, Robert?
Of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth. You have my word.